It's your NBL Canada post-game recap.
6 ticks left. A game that they had to have, and they got 94-85. Ball game over.
Well, I tell you what, Dan, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. Welcome to Scotiabank Centre. I'm joined by Matt Elliott of Halifax.ca and Audley Stevenson from NBL Canada.ca. Audley, it was a tight game in game number 4. These guys were battling throughout the whole 48 minutes.
That's what you expected. I mean, look, this is we're at the point of the season. Every game is must win. No one can afford to play bad and expect to bounce back the next game because there may not be a next game. So the Halifax Hurricanes did exactly what they were supposed to do. They came out strong. We saw in that first quarter only scored 15 points, and you kind of got a little bit, a little bit tense and worried for them. But they bounced back in that second and gained a lot of ground. And London never really recovered from that.
And London came into this game, Matt, without their best player, their MVP, Royce White, but they seemed to hang around, and right up to the 3-minute mark, they were right there, and the game was there for the taking.
Yeah, no doubt, and no surprise about that. This is a talented team. They got a deep bench just like Halifax has. Halifax did a good job. They had a sense of urgency that they had to take advantage of this opportunity without their best player, without the league MVP, to get this win. Otherwise, it'd be a tough road to hoe, being down 3-1 with him coming back.
So huge games from Halifax Hurricanes, in particular Ronaldo Dixon and Tyrone Watson, and we had an opportunity to catch up with both of those players.
I think our mindset was the same. We still got to stay together, play together. We got to rebound the ball, play defense, and get stops down the stretch. I just do what I always do. I came to the gym a little bit early, got some shots up before everyone was here, so I felt that that gave me the confidence I needed to go in strong. You just got to stay focused on the game, see everyone's mistakes, and try not to make the same mistakes that they're making. So when you go out there, you're kind of like on a coaching standpoint, but you're in the game. You see everything that's happening, but then you're able to go out there and correct those mistakes.
We knew that they were a man down and it was their best player, and we knew that they were going to come out and play for him and play with intensity and energy, but we had to match that, and we felt that last game we let it slip away from us in the fourth quarter, so we had to shore up on some mistakes that we made, and we just grateful to come out with the victory. It was just rebounding. It was just rebounding and getting stops and just taking smart offensive possessions. They started pressing us. It started rushing us and forcing us to do things of not out of our nature, and we just had to slow everything down and just really take what was given to us. I was just feeding off the energy off the crowd, just doing what I need to do for coach and for my teammates, and I knew we couldn't go down in the series 3-1 because coming to beat London 3 times in a row would be really tough. So I just told myself I got to go out there and play to the best of my ability.
So outstanding ball games from Ronaldo Dixon and Tyrone Watson, as they were the catalyst for the Hurricanes in this victory in the third and fourth quarter. Ronaldo Dixon knocking down some huge threes in some big moments for the Hurricanes. Speak a little bit about his play, Audley.
Well, I like the fact that he came in the game to do exactly what he said, to hit shots, hit open shots, hit contested shots. The reality is he was putting pressure on the opposing team. And then when you think about his role coming off the bench, inserted in the starting lineup, to replace C.J. Washington, you create so much matchup problems at the other end now, because there's no way London was scouting for that. They had no way of knowing he would come in and do just that. And you sort of think about his role, being on the bench, watching what's been going on, and it really is an ideal place to be in, because now you can insert yourself and know exactly what you got to do, and Ronaldo did that tonight.
And speaking a little bit about Tyrone Watson's play, Matt, you have the opportunity to see these guys play on their home court every single game. You even dubbed him with a few different nicknames. He had an outstanding game inside the paint.
Yeah, he sure did. Tyrone Flex Watson, I'm calling him today. He had a great game. He's one of those guys, he's got that consistency. You know what you're going to get from him every game in, game out. He's a grinder. He attacks the glass. He's diving for balls on the court. He's a great player that every coach the kind of player that every coach wants on the team.
And speaking of coaches, Coach Mike Leslie was definitely happy with the effort. He had some major adjustments to make through the third and fourth quarter, in particular from the last game in game number 3, where things came undone and London went away with the victory and head into this game with a 2-1 lead. And we had an opportunity to speak to the head coach.
And every game in the series is different because, you go back, you watch film, you make adjustments, and you hope that your players execute that. I think today for us it was about just being better. We weren't happy with the fourth quarter, obviously both offensively and defensively from the last game, and we just said we've got to come out with a four-quarter mentality at the defensive end first, and be better at executing offensively. So, yeah, it was a tough, hard-fought game, and you know, we came out on the positive side tonight. I think we tried to push the ball a little bit in transition as much as we could throughout the game, and we had some lapses where we didn't do that the other night. We got stuck in a half-court game where we weren't executing very well. So we tried to get a few more possessions in transition, and if we couldn't, then into some quick ball movement. So, you know, as long as we were able to sustain that, I felt that, you know, we could still put the points up that we needed to put up. And then it came from the defensive end is can we get the number that we want on the defensive end? If we can do that, then we probably will win the game. So, you know, there was a time early in the fourth that, you know, I was sort of wavering on, you know, making a couple of changes or not, and they played through it, and we got back into a rhythm again.
So a tough night shooting from the field for the London Lightning without their best player, Royce White, shooting 35% from the field, 22% from downtown. Oddly, you got to say that those particular numbers are not good if you're going to steal a second game on the road in the finals.
Yeah, you got to shoot. I mean, if you're not getting the ball in the basket, you're not going to score points. You're not going to win the game, obviously. And you wonder how much of this is Royce White being out of the lineup a factor. I mean, he creates matchup problems down low. He gets guys open shots. We know how much of a skilled passer he is out of the post on the high key, wherever. You know, he can get guys, you know, the ball in great positions. But at the end of the day, you know, the London Lightning perimeter defender, or perimeter players rather, they got to hit them, and they just weren't. A guy like Ryan Anderson, who's so dependable, who was so reliable, you weren't getting it from him tonight either. So I think, you know, when we talk about trying to win games, again, it goes back to hitting shots.
And speak about the second best player, Ryan Anderson. Matt, he struggled tonight from the field, 2 for 24. He struggled down the stretch, hit a couple shots in the fourth quarter, but there was other guys that stepped up. Marcus Capers had a huge game coming off the bench, and very consistent play out of Garrett Williamson. Those two guys pretty much kept them into the ball game and had an opportunity to win down the stretch. How important was their key roles into this game, almost getting this W?
Well, they were massive. I mean, they carried the mail for them today with those two players. Capers coming off the bench. Anderson was the guy that they wanted to step up with Royce White being out. He had an off day. He hit some shots at the end, like you said, but it was too little too late. So they had to turn to someone, and Capers came up big, but unfortunately they just didn't have enough guys coming up big to get the win.
That second quarter hurt us. We dug ourselves a hole, and it took a lot to come back. You know, I think we just might have ran out of gas. A couple plays didn't go our way, a couple mental mistakes as far as scouting report goes. You got to be solid. It's the finals. You know, they're a good team. They're going to bring it every night. Yeah, we were just a little bit off in that second quarter. It was a lot to come back from. That's the beauty of our team. That's why we've had so much success this year. We're so deep. You know, we can go 10, 12 deep, and any guy on our team can play on another team. So it's next man up. We know Royce was down, so guys were locked in and ready to step up. Kay played big for us tonight. The ball didn't go on for most of us, you know, but it was a tough one. We'll bounce back on Saturday.
So the series all tied up at 2 games apiece. The Halifax Hurricanes able to get it done on their home court, 94-85, as the London Lightning came into this game without their best player, the league MVP, Royce White. But you got to believe, oddly, that Royce White's going to show up in game number 5 and try to get this W going back for game 6 at the Bud Gardens.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a key game, and a case can be made for both squads why this is their game 7. If you're London, you know that if you get this one, you have 2 opportunities potentially going back home. And if you're Halifax, you don't want to be in a situation where you have to win 2 in a row. So, you know, everyone sees what's in front of them. The cards are all on the table. Royce White knows this as well. He's probably watching at home or from the hotel room, very determined and ready to go. And he's pumped, and I can see absolutely this is a game they got to get.
Must-win situation for Halifax here. They at least got to get 2 out of 3. They have a guy not able to play as well this evening with C.J. Washington. How important is this game for Halifax?
Well, oddly said at best. Both teams are going to come out playing with a sense of urgency because it's essentially like Game 7. Halifax doesn't want to go into London facing elimination, especially with the crowds. They're getting like 4,500, stuff like that. And conversely, London doesn't want to go down and have to dig themselves out of a hole. So both teams are going to be playing with a sense of urgency, and they're really going to need C.J. Washington back.
So that'll do it here at Scotiabank Centre. For Audley Stevenson and Matt Elliott, I'm Vince Williams saying so long, and we'll see you for game number 5.